It's car con carne. Let's eat in the car. It's car con carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
How come I'm the only sullen person in black tonight? You've let me down.
Well, I'm wearing black up here.
I know you are. All right, so I'm going to read a couple of housekeeping-y type things. Are you cool just hanging out and catching a vibe?
Vibing.
Uh-huh. This is Car Con Carne. It's a Q101 podcast. I'm James Van Alstyne, Car Con Carne, sponsored by Easy Automation, easy-automation.net. A smart home connects virtually all the technology in your home. With an Easy Automation installed smart home system, you and your family can control nearly every device and system in the house in ways that are easy and fun, yes, fun, Stephanie Sack, to use. Transform your living space with cutting-edge home automation. Experience seamless control over audio, video, lighting, climate, security, and more. Embrace the future of smart living. It's your home, your rules. Get a quote by visiting easy-automation.net or call my guy Dan. My guy Dan is at 630-730-3728. If you visit carconcarne.com, you can register yourself for a 3-day pass to T1 Fest. T1 Fest is happening at Reggie's October 10th through the 12th. You can go all 3 nights. Lots of amazing bands, all for a good cause. T1 Fest. Go to carconcarne.com and maybe get yourself set up with a 3-day pass. Meanwhile, I'm recording this on the 23rd of September. I am days away from the first of 3, maybe 4, live events to celebrate and record episode 1000 of Car Con Carne. Thursday the 26th, I'll be in Woodridge in the west suburbs at Skeleton Key Brewery. Live music, interviews, and hangs with AM Taxi, the Oohs and Ahs, which is America's premier monster surf rock band, and the Black and Blue Hearts. All those bands and comedian Mike Stricker at Skeleton Key Brewery. It's absolutely free to attend. It should be fun. It might be chaotic. It'll be cool. And then coming up, Siren Records in store there on the 6th, which is a Sunday, and then the following Sunday I'll be at Liars Club, all for episode 1000 of Car Con Carne. This right here is episode 993. My guest is Stephanie Sack. She's a returning favorite of Car Con Carne. She's a cinephile, a film enthusiast, also a horror fan of the highest level, which leads me to the 25th edition of the Chicago Horror Film Festival.
Woohoo!
Stephanie's an associate producer of this year's event, which focuses on women in horror and the final girl trope. The fest is happening at the Logan Theatre from September 27th through the 29th, playing on 3 days of programming, playing on 3 screens, covering 200 short horror, thriller, and sci-fi films. ChicagoHorrorFilmFest.com. Stephanie, always a delight to have you here.
Thank you. It's always delightful to be here,
Now
especially to talk about horror.
Yeah, no, this is perfect. It's that time of year.
Spooky season.
We are on an undisclosed Printers Row street recording this. We're not eating. We're just hanging out.
We're feasting. We're eating on the spirits that surround us.
We are. So let's start there with the final girl trope. I know what it is, but for a casual listener or viewer, they may not know exactly what that means. What is the final girl?
Well, I'm going to flip this a little bit, James. What do you think the final girl means?
It's the one who survives all the murders in a horror movie.
It's the one who survives all the murders in a horror movie. A+ for you.
Thank you.
So the final girl is a consistent theme in the slashers of the 80s, for example, where a girl who usually has a boy's name, interestingly, Chris, or in a film that I'm going to be screening at the fest, Johnny, and she takes on sort of an aggressive, sort of a escaping what could be sure death, doom, impalement, dismemberment, all sorts of horrible things. Yet she prevails, and it's usually with a weapon that could be pursued as looked at as something phallic, a knife, a baseball bat, something where...
I never put that together.
What?
No, I never did.
I'm so glad I just was able to tell you this.
It never even registered with me.
Aren't you so glad I'm sitting here schooling you?
I
mean, everyone else is too, apparently.
Tell me more about the phallic symbols.
So, yes, I mean, classic final girls are, of course, the chick from Halloween, the gal from Suspiria, final girl, a classic probably the most iconic final girl is from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original one. And there's something just so awesome about a chick getting away. It's very empowering. It's really fun to watch. And, you know, there's when you look at a film like Alien, for example, another final girl film, something about a woman being the last one, or a woman being chased by somebody with a really intense death drive is really terrifying. Hitchcock played around with it a lot. Argento played around with it a lot. So when masters like that are, you know, working with the final girl trope, you know it's pretty badass.
And in a lot of those 80s movies, you knew the girl was going to make it to the end because they made every other character absolutely unlikable.
You know, that's very true. And in the American version of those, unlikable meant sexually active.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boring.
Boring. So that is a focus of this year's film festival.
Correct.
I mean, there are a lot of things showing across 3 screens. I guess my first question is, there aren't a lot of familiar things playing in this. So for again, a casual listener or viewer, what's going to hook them in?
So that's actually on purpose. This film fest is to promote, screen, collaborate with new filmmakers. Usually they are young filmmakers. We actually have filmmakers internationally, which is really exciting. And this festival is to elevate the fresh voices, the new takes, the people who are stepping into the next generation of horror tastemakers, horror filmmakers, writers about horror, actors, actresses, producers, directors. So it's a real celebration of the emerging scene in horror. And we've done a lot to focus on what's happening in the Midwest as well.
Well, let's talk about She Came.
From outer space.
The pause is intentional because there's an exclamation point in the title. She Came
from outer space.
Described as a suspenseful, darkly comedic horror film surrounding the fallout of a messy breakup, a naughty, pink-skinned lady alien whose UFO happens to land in Andersonville.
Yes, and in fact, one of the outer scenes, or one of the exteriors that we see, is the building with that thatched roof right on the corner of Clark and Catalpa, I think. So not only is it local, I think it's really fun to see those locations.
I totally agree.
Yeah, taking center stage. And so this was a film that I actually judged. I was really impressed, really delighted. You can see the passion, you can see the love and all the attention to detail the crew and the director put into it. But really, the star of the show is the gal who plays the alien. And she has actually been nominated for Best Actress for the fest. And it's super cutely cast. The plot is very frothy. It's very fun. And then all of a sudden it takes this very dark, heavy twist. And I was wonderfully startled. I was laughing and really enjoying the end. And that is kicking off the Saturday programming for the Final Girl Women in Horror block. So I'm really excited not only to introduce it, but be the one to bring it to the Chicago Horror Film Fest.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your time in the spotlight at this festival. Let's talk about Perpetrator.
Well, I'm not only thrilled to be showing films such as She Came from outer space, but one of the reasons, in fact, the main reason why I'm like super geeked for the theme, having it in downtown Chicago, focusing on women in horror, is because the marquee screening is local horror director Jennifer Reeder's most recent film, Perpetrator. It's set in Chicago, filmed right here in Chicago.
Nice. Lots
of local actors, lots of local crew. And of course, Jennifer has been very active in Chicago. She's been a teacher of film. She's put out other movies, one of which I caught years ago at the Music Box, and I'm still thinking about it. So really being able to spotlight Jennifer, to give her some flowers, especially from a local community, is super exciting. And I will be conducting the post-screening Q&A, which I'm so psyched about.
Now, I've seen you do one of these. I saw you do it with Barbara Magnolfi at Facets.
Yes.
It was before Suspiria.
Yes.
You do a really nice job with that. Like I mean, you're sitting in the interviewee seat, but you're really good at doing the Q&A stuff.
Thank you. That's really a lovely compliment, especially coming from you, James. And I approach the Q&As from not necessarily a fan perspective, which is always a fun perspective to speak with somebody from, but I really try to approach it from sort of like a friendly academic, somebody who looks at the film about the narrative, the cinematography.
People like the behind the curtain stuff.
I love going behind the curtain and revealing what should be revealed.
Yeah. So that's going to be super fun. So that movie in particular, Perpetrator, a young woman of color grapples with anxieties related to her changing body and how it is perceived and feared by others. Described by the playlist as where David Lynch meets John Hughes. Sold.
The ultimate compliment.
Sold. That's
the
it.
Ultimate compliment.
I want to talk to you about Buzzkill.
Yes. It's a shame when inanimate objects, particularly vibrators, have a little streak of jealousy.
That's the elevator pitch. A vibrator is overcome by jealousy.
As they sometimes are.
Sometimes they have to take a back seat to human beings.
They're not real happy about that.
No.
Especially in this film.
A short film, both written and directed by women. No surprise there.
It's another film that I was able to watch and judge. And again, I was like laughing. It had like a really fun twist at the end. And of course, just the idea of a murderous vibrator. I mean, that's scream out loud funny, no pun intended.
I'm uncomfortable. So you talked about the Final Girl track, basically. Are there other, like, if someone has a particular interest, are there different like tracks they can follow theater-wise or screening-wise?
For the Final Girl or just for in general? What's really interesting about this fest is we actually don't do blocks.
Okay.
It's sort of show up, see what you catch, and enjoy it. It is structured around a handful of features. So if you do want to just sit down and kind of lose yourself in a real film for 90 or 100 minutes, there's, I think, 5 or 6 features. Otherwise, it's shorts from all over the world, made by all sorts of different people in different languages about different things. And I'm really proud of that it's sort of a celebration of how beautiful and messy and intense and funny horror films can be.
I love everything about this because for those of us who like horror, we've seen it all.
Oh my God, horror is so boring these days.
I don't know about that, but I feel like every Halloween it's like, oh, maybe I should watch a horror movie. Crap, I have nothing new to watch. Like, this is exciting to me because it's that discovery, and we've talked about this, I'm sure, and I talk about it a lot, the need for curation. This is thoughtfully curated cinema for horror fans.
You know, there is very little of that, I would say. A lot
curation?
No, for horror fans in particular.
Oh, right. Not right.
For horror fans in particular. And I think that's because the word horror can be really off-putting. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's sort of a gradu around the word horror.
Okay, stop. What does that mean?
It's sort of bottom of the barrel to a lot of people.
Is that a French word? What are you doing here?
No, you got to read the dictionary next time before we chat. But there's I always do. But there's an unfair perception of horror, and I myself am not a fan of slashers. I'm really not a fan.
I'm not either.
Yeah, I find them very, very repetitive.
Sure,
they're not scary. You know, it's terror, not horror.
Correct.
And horror, when it's up here and it's slow and there's a burn and there's a reveal, that can be truly terrifying. And just like with any good film, James, I think really good horror has to be directed by strong, competent, insightful directors.
Yeah, for sure.
And a lot of horror is product. It's not art.
Fair.
Yeah.
So are you going to be out there all 3 days? I mean, this sounds like... Like,
yes.
even as a fan, it's like, I don't know how I can do all this.
Oh, it's a gauntlet, but I've been training. I've been bathing in virgin's blood and
you and me
doing
both,
the
sister.
Spells. Well,
yeah.
I can tell your visage is just, that is French, actually.
Yeah.
So this is it. Like, I'm ready, and I hope the city of Chicago is ready, too.
I think so. And, I mean, if you're going to do 3 days of indie filmmaking, Logan makes sense.
The theater is so perfect. the whole vibe is so retro. It's very warm. We're going to have a lounge where people can meet, talk, share ideas. The staff at the Logan, oh my God, the best people. They totally get it. And I'm hoping that they'll be doing a special drink on Saturday. And we've kicked around an idea called The Final Girl, of course. So come hungry, come thirsty, and get ready to be scared.
I love it. Okay, again, the 25th Chicago Horror Film Fest. Anything else, any like hidden gems you want to mention now?
Yes, there's a fantastic film from Mexico called Teacups and Cookies. And it's a film about the horrors of aging. And unlike a very popular film right now, which is The Substance, which I just saw. Have you seen that yet?
I haven't. I heard it was good.
I'm so impressed. And It's really about the fear, the interior horror of a woman's aging process. And boy, it landed with me a bunch. But this one is about when you're kind of at the end and how it's a beautiful, quiet, sad love story. And I was super impressed. And if anyone can catch that, I really encourage you to do so. And things like that, what I've come across in judging and talking to the staff and the people who've put together this fest, it's all about those little gems, right? It's all about those quiet little discoveries, those sweet little statements, and I'm really proud to be showing films like that.
And as fans, as consumers, there's always that inclination. I want to be the first one to see or experience something. I want to beat my friends to the cool shit.
Hells yeah. That's half the reason to do anything. So most of these are debuts. If not debuts in Chicago, then they're national or even world debuts.
I love that. Okay, it's the 25th Chicago Horror Film Fest. Chicago. I got to articulate. ChicagoHorrorFilmFest.com, the 27th through 29th of September, Logan Theatre, 2646 North Milwaukee. I know how much work you put into this. I think it's going to be an awesome 3 days of programming.
That is so kind of you to say. Chicago, come out, support your indie horror filmmakers, local, regional, national, international, and apparently even galactic. I will see all of you there, I hope.